Welcome to the Entertainment Audio Show with Jordan and Lane. I'm
I'm
Lane.
Jordan. Oh, yeah, he's
That's
Lane.
awkward.
I'm Jordan.
No. Yeah. Thank you for being here. Normally, this is where we're like, just as a heads up, spoilers ahead. No, tonight we're actually doing things a little differently. Um, the we're actually going to go into we've kind of set this up differently. Where the first part of our show, we're actually going to be giving reviews of movies that we've seen, maybe, or one of us has seen, the other hasn't, where we talk spoiler free reviews first. And then after that, we're going to go into projects that we're excited about. We may change this up from week to week, but this week we're doing spoiler free. Then we're doing a section that I love that I'm calling trailers and tidbits, where it's just kind of whatever we want to talk about as long as it's spoiler ish free, upcoming projects. And then we give you a warning, and then we go into spoiler filled reviews. That way, if you haven't seen any of the things we've talked about or we're going to talk about, you can go and watch these things and come back later. Please come back later. That's
Please
the
do.
key to this. But how does that sound, Jordan? You excited?
I actually like this a lot.
I'm
It's
really
an
excited.
interesting thing, especially with one of the big topics we're going to talk about.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So it's this way people can listen to us without being absolutely terrified that something big's going to be spoiled, but what potentially may be, or I can guess we can say already is, the biggest movie of the year.
Oh, by far. Like, I mean, at this point, do you want to just say what the movie is?
Yeah, well, obviously, if everyone hasn't figured it out yet, we're talking about Deadpool and Wolverine, which came out this weekend.
Yes, we both saw it. I saw it Thursday night. Did you see it Thursday afternoon?
I have seen it twice
Thursday
now.
night? You've seen it twice already.
I saw it
Folks, it is
Thursday.
Saturday.
I saw it Thursday at 3:15. That was the first showing in the Orlando area
Oh, gosh.
at AMC that I could use my A-list for. And then I saw it again earlier today on the Saturday. And I'm seeing it
Oh,
next Thursday with another friend who hasn't seen it yet, who I don't think is going to be able to escape the spoilers for another week.
no, it's going to be really hard to avoid spoilers for this movie. But let me get your spoiler-free opinion, and we'll go into more details later. What is your? I'm guessing you liked it.
I did.
I mean,
I
you've
did
seen
like
it
it.
twice already.
I did. I did like it. I liked it a lot. I'm still kind of where I'm still trying to decide where exactly I put it on my rankings of movies I've seen this year. It is definitely towards the top. There's another movie we're going to talk about in a moment that may have a chance at topping it,
Really?
but um, but I did like it a lot.
Wait, a movie that hasn't come out yet, or?
No, it's a movie that I saw actually the same day I saw Deadpool and Wolverine. Um,
Oh, that one, yeah.
that
One of our
we'll
other
talk about that in a
spoiler-free
moment,
ones.
folks. We won't leave you hanging for long, but I did like this movie a lot. It did exactly what I kind of wanted it to do. It's not a perfect movie. I've seen the criticism for it. Some of it I get to a degree. The story is a bit of a simple, kind of thin story, but it really didn't need to be a
That's the thing
complicated
about
story.
Deadpool. But that's the thing about Deadpool is like even like the other two movies weren't overly blasted or overly like filled stories. They were, if I remember correctly, because I saw a heavily edited version of the first one, so I
Was it?
have to admit that I saw that on an airplane, so it had to be heavily edited because airplane and children around.
Yes,
But
yes.
it was like part of the airline's library. But I feel like the other two were pretty simple stories. It was, but it was Deadpool, so like people loved it for the sake of it being a simple story
Yeah,
because Deadpool's a simple person.
it is. And these are
Just
very much character-driven movies more than a story-driven
oh
movie.
yes,
Yeah, you
and there
care for
was
the
a
character.
lot of character in this movie. I will say though, there is one thing I don't feel like this is a spoiler so much. So I feel like I'm comfortable enough to say it now. I knew what I was getting myself into with this movie, and I really really liked the movie. Won't say that I loved the movie. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again, but not for any reason that I feel like some people have. For me, I don't curse,
Right.
and I grew up in an area that was, if you heard a curse word, it was a wordy dird.
Hmm.
And so every time he would say one, like I can, and I'm not saying something like, "Oh, there should be no curse words in movies," because like I personally don't say them. I don't feel like I can force other people not to say them. But there
Right.
were so many in this movie that I feel like there was one particular word that I would not be surprised if somebody does a count later and it hits the triple digits.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And that is literally my only one of two complaints I have about this movie. But that's pretty dang good for a Marvel movie. I mean, every Marvel movie I feel like's had its issues, but the fact that this one I only have like two things that, again, I don't hate this movie, but it's like those there were only two things that personally I could have done without and enjoyed the movie more, though I still really, really, really enjoyed the movie. But also, I knew what I was getting myself into because I've seen, like I said, the first one, though heavily edited, I did see the second one unedited. So I knew what I was getting myself into.
Right.
There was just a lot.
Unlike this, earlier today, I was walking out the theater, and this older couple, a grandma and a grandpa, were taking their like 6-year old wearing an X-Men shirt into the theater, and I'm like, oh, I know what movie
Oh
they're going to see.
no,
I just hope they know what they're doing.
they did not. I can almost guarantee they did not.
I mean, I feel like they probably
I,
didn't.
they're
It
like,
just
oh, Wolverine. Oh gosh.
Yeah, within the first what 10 minutes, they're probably leaving the theater,
Yeah,
and the kid's like, "But
probably.
mom," you know,
Goodness gracious.
yeah.
But I
But
mean,
like I said,
again, if you're like teenage to adult, it's a fun movie.
oh yeah.
And I mean, at this point, I think we can say there are cameos. I won't say
Well,
which ones yet.
I'm gonna actually say something, and it might. I don't know. I don't think this is a hot take, but
Oh,
some of these characters that appear in this thing, I wouldn't actually. Some of them that are being called cameos, I technically wouldn't call them a cameo because they are actually very, very important for the plot.
you are correct. You are correct. However, I think in my mind, the way that I see cameos is you're not expecting that person or that character to be there in that regard. Now we can go into better detail in our spoiler section in a little while, and we'll be able to continue that part of the discussion because I want to get more into detail with what you're talking about because I agree with you. However,
Mhm.
the fact of their existence at all to me is a cameo.
Okay,
I,
so we
I,
see a
I do
little
understand
differently
that.
at that,
I do understand that cameos are typically one-offs, like Stan Lee
right? Or
being
somebody
in
in the
films,
background,
or
a
somebody
quick
just
line.
being in the background. Like that one guy that won a contest in the early 2000s to be in the background of an episode of How I Met Your Mother.
Hmm.
Um, and he was like in one shot, I think with Conan O'Brien, or maybe it was Conan O'Brien, but it was like one off thing. Like that's a cameo. Like I get that. That's hilarious. And no, that's not what this was. But I also feel like their existence at all, because there are a couple of them, their existence at all, in my mind, constitutes a cameo. A character that is unexpected, in my mind, that you feel like doesn't belong, but also very much. I don't know. It's a weird kind of. thing. I don't know.
I can see where you're coming from with that. And
And again, I can explain it. It's so difficult. This is the first time I've ever had to do like a fully spoiler free review like this. And so my brain is like telling me, say this sentence. And I'm like, no, because that says this.
especially for a movie that is kind of hard to talk about without talking about things.
Exactly. Exactly.
Without talking about like
Oh
saying
my
that I
God.
liked it a lot. I understand some of the criticisms, but also some are not the criticisms as strong as they are because the reviews have not been great for this movie. Audience scores have been very good though. Um,
Yeah. Well, I can see that too because audience scores, especially with everything going on, audience scores are going to be a lot higher than
yeah,
critical scores. But even that's
and
been the case for like the last 5 years, where critics have scored movies very, very low, and audiences go in and like we're just like, but I like this movie.
and vice versa.
Yeah,
There have been times where movies have critically done very well, and then
and then
um,
bombed in the box office.
and then the general audience did not like it. I will say though, I think the first Deadpool movie didn't do great. It still has a fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's not like very high. It's like a 97% audience score, and it's like a 70 something in the critic score,
Yeah,
which is about what the first one did. But the audience score was a little bit, I think, more close. But also, and as you were kind of saying earlier, a Deadpool movie is not gonna get everybody.
no,
So the
no,
audience
it's
scores can
not.
be high because the audience, like you said, knew where they were getting into. Critic scores, critics, they kind of have to watch everything, whether they really want to or not. So I could see where if you're not into that kind of movie, that kind of humor, things like those, I could see where um maybe you would give it a not the greatest rating. I'm trying to pull it up to see exactly what that score was. Um,
Which one? The first Deadpool?
both. Uh, Deadpool and
Well,
Wolverine has a 79% critic and
yeah,
97 audience. The first one,
actually, it's higher. I just saw it. It's at an 85 critic with a 90 audience.
maybe it was the second one that was lower.
Oh, yeah. Looks
No,
like
Deadpool
84
two
and
was
86.
way higher.
Yeah, there's
But it's still you can
one.
still see this kind of they're kind of this close-ish in critic rating.
Yeah,
You know, like
which makes sense.
70s,
The only
low
thing that
80s.
doesn't, the only thing that doesn't is apparently there was something, and I didn't even know this existed.
Is it
Something
Once
called
Upon a
Once
Deadpool?
Upon a Deadpool.
You haven't seen
It's
that?
like, no, is it like what is it?
So it is essentially it came out right after Disney bought Fox. And a
Oh,
lot of people said it was Disney's test at a PG-13 Deadpool.
yeah.
So what it essentially is, it's a cut up version of Deadpool 2. And edited and as any Deadpool movie is going to be, it's not just censored, it's Deadpool. You've seen Princess Bride, right?
I have. I'm looking at the IMDb, so I'm seeing a couple of the images,
Yeah,
and
so
it
essentially
has
Deadpool kidnaps Fred Savage, who plays the kid in Princess
yes,
Bride. And he tapes him to his chair in the set of Princess Bride, and he's telling him the story of Deadpool 2, which is why it's
hmm
called Once Upon a Deadpool. So it kind of cuts in and out of the scenes where it may not be PG-13s, so Deadpool can explain what's happening to him, but also they'll cut in jokes. And he also has his censor button that he'll use to censor it. Uh, I have seen it. I saw it in theaters. I actually saw it the same day I saw Into the Spider-Verse.
I
But
don't remember this happening at all.
so my thing with that movie is it's really funny. The scenes outside of the scenes from Deadpool 2 are really good. Fred Savage and Ryan Reynolds together, they're really funny. But the big problem with that movie is I left that theater just wanting to go watch Deadpool 2 because I was essentially watching a chopped up version of Deadpool 2.
I got you. I mean that
I mean, if you have the chance to watch it,
it makes a lot of sense.
check it out because like I said, it is pretty funny. Um But yeah, I don't. What is its scores?
Not great.
Yeah, I
It
was
has
say I
a
wouldn't think it would be.
56 critic, 58 audience.
Wow.
It's
But
bad.
actually, us talking about that actually just reminded me something before we kind of move on from this.
Yeah.
So, in the story, or I don't say story, in the topic of Deadpool telling a story, did you see that Deadpool and Wolverine are appearing in Avengers Campus at Disneyland?
I did, and I really like that. It's so funny to me that they had to basically make Deadpool go PG for this.
Yeah. Have you seen
It's
anything
so.
from what he
I've
does?
seen everything.
You've seen everything?
I've seen a lot of it. I won't say everything. I won't say everything, but I've seen a lot of it. Like his costume.
His costume looks really good.
Do you know about the costume change that they did?
No. Oh wait,
His
is it
hol-
the in the
the
holsters?
holsters.
Yeah.
He has chimichangas instead.
In
And I'm like, initially, I was like, that actually makes a lot of sense because it's like they don't want to have those like weapons like that in a Disney park. So what do they replace it with? What else is he known for?
chimichanga.
Chimichangas.
Did you
Chimichangas.
see what he's got in his holsters in Disneyland Paris?
I thought it was chimichangas there too.
No, it's baguettes.
That's even better.
And he comes out Deadpool in Disneyland Paris. He comes out dancing to a Celine Dion song.
Did see that. I did see that. But
Yeah.
and he comes
Uh,
out at Disneyland to a different song,
riding a unicorn.
riding a freaking unicorn. And
But
then
you've
comes
seen
out
the
and says, "Oh, like his jokes, story time with Deadpool."
yeah. Apparently, there's three different
Oh,
stories he tells. The clips I've seen is from Beauty Pool and the Wolverbeast.
yep. I need to. I wish somebody would record the whole thing
I wish they would too. I also gotta
and
say though,
post it.
I gotta say, and I've been to Avengers Campus a couple times, and the costumes they all for the most part look incredible. But that Wolverine costume is
Like
insane.
almost perfect.
It's like truly mind blowing how good it looks.
Unfortunately, it in of itself is a spoiler
Yeah,
to a
kind of,
degree,
because
and we can
we can't
explain why in the second half.
we
Right.
can. But I did want to talk about that. But I like how like you talking about Once Upon a Deadpool made me think of that because he does read a story
It's so
the
great,
only way Deadpool can.
making all the adults laugh or uncomfortable or
There's a couple
both.
things he said that I'm like, oh, they slid that in there.
Oh, he's like an old Disney movie where they throw in jokes that make adults go, eh, kids go, what?
Yeah, yeah,
Like, he is the pinnacle of that sort of mentality,
he is.
um, which is both hilarious and hilarious. Uh, but, but there was another movie that you saw that you said that you feel rivals.
Yeah, there's
Like,
actually two movies that we're going to add in here. And the main reason they're not in the spoiler part is because I know you haven't seen them yet. I know one of them. I'm not sure how interested you are in, but are in. Honestly, either one of them, I don't know how interested you are in. So we kind of put them here just in case.
mhm.
But the same day I saw Deadpool and Wolverine, I watched another movie that has been very much hyped by everybody I know to go see, and that was Twisters.
Okay,
Twisters may be. And remember before a couple videos ago, I said that Fall Guy and Dune Part 2 were my top two movies of the year so far. Well, they have, I think,
okay,
both been moved down to third and fourth.
really?
Yes. By these two movies, Deadpool and Wolverine and Twisters, I don't know which one I'm putting up top first. I've seen Deadpool twice. I haven't seen Twisters again yet, but oh boy, do I want to. Uh, there was a point in Twisters where I was like, I'm moving to Oklahoma and becoming a storm chaser.
Ha!
Which is the same thing. Now, I must preface this. I'm a massive fan of the original Twister. I think I talked about that on the 90s episode we did.
Maybe. I think you did,
That
yeah.
I really liked that original Twisters. So I came in here, and at first I was when they first announced it, I was very about a sequel to Twisters, especially since um, some of the characters were not. Well, none of the characters were coming back. Some of them could not come back. Some of them are no longer with us. Um, so I was kind of but when I started seeing the marketing, I was like, okay, this looks like it's enough of a, I guess you could say more of a, a spiritual sequel, if that makes sense.
Correct.
There are references to the original movie. There are things that are definitely talked about. That those events did happen. But this is its own story. But gosh, man, I tell you, I was at one point I was like, I'm having so much fun. This also has one of the things where like the plot's not the best, but then again, we're at a Twister movie. Where were you really expecting? We're here to watch some people chase some Twisters. One thing that I love, same as Deadpool and Wolverine, the soundtrack, the music in both of those movies, fire.
Oh yes,
And we can definitely say that about I know you've seen Deadpool and Wolverine. The music's great
I
in
have.
Deadpool and Wolverine. I've had one song, non-spoiler, I'll take it later. The opening song has been stuck in my head all day.
Oh my gosh,
But I've also had a
it's so
song.
good.
There's a song in Twisters that I've actually been like almost every time I'm in my car, I put it on even before I watched the movie because it's played a lot in the trailers and it's made for the movie. Somebody at work, a lot of times before we leave, they'll start playing music as we're getting ready to like head out. And she saw Twisters that weekend, and she played that song. And I'm back. I'm literally standing back there going, "This." I'm listening to this when I get in the car. And I guess
I love that.
this isn't really a spoiler because it's out in the marketing. It's called "Ain't No Love in Oklahoma" by Luke Combs,
Oh,
and man, it's good.
I need to
uh,
check it out then.
but man, Twisters, and I also got to see, and the reason why I saw Twisters the same day as Deadpool and Wolverine is because I really wanted to see Twisters in a premium format.
Yeah.
So I was, and the past few weeks have been hectic. I really haven't a chance to get to a theater, and like I say, I go to AMC's mostly because I have A-List, which has, and the theater close to me has a Dolby screen, and I'm like, I have to see this movie in Dolby. Well, I was looking, and Deadpool and Wolverine was taking over the Dolby screen on that day. But they put in one Twisters showing that morning. So I looked at my brother, who was going to meet with see Deadpool and Wolverine, and he has seen Twister. For everybody listening, he has seen Twister. Um, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to join in on this too? Because I'm doing it. I'm not missing this in a big theater." And it was the one of the best experiences I've had in a theater. Because boy, it's good.
You're making me want to go back and see if I can see it in my local theater, my
I hope it's still
small like hometown
you.
theater.
You may, if you do it quick enough, you may be able to because it's only been out for a few weeks. I know Deadpool and Wolverine's taking a lot of screens right now. Um,
Our
but
theater is really really weird about that sort of stuff. They very seldomly that I've noticed. They very seldomly let a movie take over more than one screen.
okay, and I think you said before it's 4 screens yours has.
Correct. Now I will say this: as I'm saying this, I pulled up my local theater and I'm wrong. They did, in fact, it looks like allow this movie to take two screens.
That could be
But
for opening weekend though.
maybe. Well, they didn't on Thursday. On Thursday, they had three different films. Let
Okay,
me. It looks like because what they're doing is they're. I didn't know Deadpool and Wolverine was 3D.
actually Thursday, me and my brother watched it in 3D.
Okay, didn't know that. That makes some of the stuff make more sense,
Yeah,
which
it's
I can talk about other than
it was
that.
3D converted. It wasn't filmed in 3D. It's 3D converted. Um, I will say, and I typically with a lot of Marvel movies, I'll try to see them in different formats just to I tried that with a lot of movies, but Marvel movies I'll definitely do. Out of the movies I've seen in 3D for Marvel, I think this is the one that it didn't have as big of an impact on.
Okay.
It did look very good in 3D. I will say there are some scenes that look really good in 3D. The Void looks great in 3D. But it's not super important.
Okay. On that note, before we go back into Deadpool and start talking spoilers on accident.
Yeah, I think that's everything I can say about Twisters without. Also, what I
Well,
said a
that
minute ago, that's
that
not a
actually makes me
spoiler. We
really,
knew
really
that.
excited. Well, yeah, but I know that if the next thing out of my mouth was probably going to be a spoiler.
There's literally nothing else we can say about Deadpool and Wolverine without spoiling something. That's literally all we can do.
So we are gonna take a metaphorical step back since I can't take a literal one.
Yeah.
Hey,
And I don't think there's anything else I can say about Twisters except for Glenn Powell and what's her name? The co-lead. Where's my IMDb? Daisy Edgar Jones. They are so. I think what's the word I'm looking for? They draw you to the screen. Every time they're on there, I'm glued. I'm here.
I gotta see this. You're making me really actually want to see this movie.
And their chemistry is off the charts.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, soon as I have a paycheck, I shall go.
Is it playing in your
It
theater?
is. It is, in fact, and it looks like it's gonna be playing for a couple more weeks.
That's good. It's currently the movie that's for the past few weeks was the number one movie in the box office.
So it might.
Deadpool and Wolverine is definitely taking that away, but it's still like right there at number 2.
Yeah, I will say because this is a small theater, we tend to lose things faster.
Yeah,
Than like your big theaters. But it's because we're like waiting for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
I mean, your good news is I think there's a bit of a break. I don't think there's not very many studios out there that will.
Well, we got one movie coming up next week that I was not interested at all in, and then something recently I saw a commercial for it, but I can bring that up in a minute because I think you had one more movie you wanted to talk about.
I did,
Spoiler
yeah.
free before we get into
I did
future
get to see
projects.
one more movie in theaters this past month, and that was Inside Out 2.
Okay, how was that?
I liked it a lot.
I know this is going to be like the question you're not supposed to ask, but compared to the first one, um, what would be? Do you have any gripes about it? Do you have? I've not seen it, and that's why I'm like,
The first one?
no, the second one. I saw the first
Okay.
one, loved the first one.
If
Got
you
emotional, ping pong, but um, the second one, I'm not. I didn't have a desire to see it. I felt like it was too much, and then I started hearing a lot of fun things about
well,
the second one.
as of today, it is Inside Out 2. This is nothing to say about quality, but this is just to show that people are continue to be interested in it. As of today, Inside Out 2 is now officially the highest grossing animated movie in history, both domestically and worldwide.
Hmm.
And I know a lot of people look at that with saying, well, inflation. But yeah, I get that. But it did beat a lot of other animated movies that have come out recently around the same time. I would say it's hard for me to compare the two because I haven't actually seen the first one in a long time. I do love
Okay.
the first one though. I've seen the first one many a times. I tend to tear up a lot when I watch it, but it's been a couple years since I have.
Yeah.
I would say in my currently, I would say they're pretty on par.
Okay.
If not,
I definitely need
this
to
could be
see
the
it then.
recency bias. I may prefer the second one a little better, but I said that could be recency bias. I'd have to watch both of them again before I can accurately compare the two. But I'd say they're pretty on par. I'd say if you love the first one, I truly believe you'll like this one.
Okay. I'll definitely check it out. I know that they've got some. I've heard some really good things about it. I've even seen some spoilered clips, and it just made me not really want to watch it. But I don't know if I like. I feel like I already had a predetermined disposition against it. So I
Was
don't.
it one of those things? And correct me if I'm wrong. Was it one of those things where it's a sequel to a movie you love so much that you didn't think is necessary?
Yeah, that might be it. I've never
But
quite
I
put
had
it
that
into
same thought when
words,
they
but
announced it.
it
I
it,
thought I thought it was going to get
it
Toy
definitely
Story
did
4.
feel unnecessary. It yeah, and I never saw Toy Story 4, so that might be part of it as well.
I have a hot take about Toy Story 4, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole.
We could do maybe if we ever do like a Disney, but like a Disney special.
A
We can talk about
Disney
our our
animated
our
animation special.
yes. We will do that one day, and then we can talk all our Disney hot takes. Um, but I'm looking forward to that. It should be on Inside Out 2 should be on Disney Plus. Hopefully in the next few weeks.
I wouldn't say the
I
next few
will
weeks, mainly because
maybe a
I
few
don't even think
months.
it's been released digitally yet, and it's still making bank.
Oh, is it still in theaters?
It's still in theaters. It
Oh, I
is
didn't know that.
making bank. It is making more money than some of the movies that have come out after it.
Oof.
And it's
It's good
still
for
and
them, not great for everybody else.
oh yeah, I mean it's definitely a win that Disney needed. July was a good month for Disney.
But speaking of other movies, other Disney slash Marvel,
Oh yeah, so we're gonna go into trailers and
uh,
tidbits now.
trailers and tidbits. Um, I'm going to tell you something, and I don't know how I feel about this first one we're talking about. The Captain America. I think you said Captain America, and they changed the name to Brave New World.
Yes.
Um, I have mixed feelings about it. I am so pumped because I love Captain America. Captain America is my favorite superhero ever. Steve Rogers being the first. Steve Rogers has always been my favorite Captain America. However, um, I will say that our new Cap very much, very, very much. I am so excited to see Anthony Mackie play this role again. And whole new costume, whole new suit. I've even seen some really cool things in that trailer that got released. Like, I don't know if you noticed. I feel like
We
you
haven't
noticed.
talked about this yet, by the way.
No, we haven't.
This
So
trailer's
I'm
been out for a
really
while.
excited. It has.
But
But
there's
we
something in
very
that
specifically
trailer.
to put it off.
There's something in that trailer that you specifically said you wanted to wait to talk about.
I wish I remember what that was.
It was the biggest thing in that trailer.
No, you mean
Literally.
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 Okay,
Because
we're
I
gonna
text
skip this.
you,
We've now exited the spoiler-free section.
and
If
this
you
is kind
haven't
of
seen
this.
the trailer,
I mean, we're spoiling for a trailer. Huh?
it's a little less important that we spoil for trailer. But the Red Hulk specifically, I am
Yes. I
so
cannot.
excited.
I cannot believe they put him in the trailer. But also thinking about it later, I'm like, it kind of makes sense if you wanted to
You
build
kind
hype
of
for
have
this.
to.
Because even before we get to the Red Hole, even before you get to that point, this is a great trailer.
It's so good.
It
Like I even thought about
really.
rewatching it again before we started tonight. But
I
my
kind of did because it played
only
before Deadpool.
my ours didn't. Ours played like some scary movie stuff that I
I
covered
didn't
my
even get
eyes
to
for.
that.
Anyway, what?
Oh, did you get the Alien trailer?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was really excited when I saw the spaceship and space station. For those that don't remember, I have an obsession and fascination with space. So when I saw a spaceship docking on a space station, I got really excited until I realized it was aliens Romulus. I was like, no, thank you. I don't do face huggers. Um,
I don't like spiders.
but
So they're not a big thing for me either.
that's not gonna be that will not be a movie that I go see.
There's a shot in that
Uh,
trailer that literally makes me go, ha ha ha.
you have to tell me. I really that's hilarious. But
There's like
uh,
50 of them jumping down a hallway and they look like
oh god.
spiders. And I'm like, oh, no, no, no. um,
But I
but back
wanted
to
to
Cap.
mention I sent you a picture, a screen grab that I took of the trailer, and it's him at at Mach speed.
You did.
You remember
You
that?
did.
He's wearing a helmet. Did you notice that?
I did. I did notice that.
I'm so excited about that.
They actually have, for those listening, we are, if you haven't figured out already, opening weekend at Deadpool, but also it's San Diego Comic-Con is currently happening in San Diego. They actually have the full costumes for him and Falcon at
Oh, I
the
didn't know
event,
that.
and they have both helmets. Also, we are currently 20 minutes away from the Marvel panel starting, so I'm going to be
Oh,
diving into some stuff when we're done.
no. So
uh,
if you can't tell, we're filming or recording on Saturday,
at you
and
know what time?
well, yeah.
um,
Let me. Okay, I'm seeing it now on Popverse. Ooh, that's
yeah,
two
man.
different suits. Wait a minute.
Yes,
Hold
it
the
is.
phone. Okay. Wait.
Also,
Is he gonna? Wait. Hold up. Is he gonna have two different variants of his suit in this movie?
I think so.
Oh, sorry for those at home. I'm getting new information as I'm freaking out. I, my word, I love the red and blue. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love Sam Wilson's suit that's red, white, and blue, like with the white shoulders. The one from the or that's
The
in the show as well.
the comic accurate.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, the comic accurate one. I love that one. Love that one. Love that one. But the one that's just blue and red and what like may it's basically the same suit, but instead of the white shoulders and white arms, it's the blue and it the blue helmet. I'm
You know what it kind of
flipping
reminds
out.
me of?
What?
It kind of reminds me of the transition that Steve had between Avengers and Winter Soldier.
I agree.
And
Oh,
I
I
kind of
agree.
get that same vibe from now. I know that Falcon and the Winter Soldier was a more like intense, kind of political thriller esque kind of show, kind of similar to like Winter Soldier vibe. But I
Yeah.
do see that I looking at the trailer and what we've seen from Sam before, I almost see that same arc into a more high intense political thriller like Winter Soldier for Sam.
And I get that. And I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this. I love the Captain America movies. I'm hoping that this is very Winter Soldier esque and not more political thriller than Winter Soldier. I
I don't think it will be.
personally don't enjoy the political thrillers as
Mm-hmm.
much as I enjoy the straight up action. So like that was really and truthfully my only. I don't even want to call it a complaint, but my only thing about the Falcon Winter Soldier series was that it started leaning into that political thriller, and I get that it said what it needed to say, and I'm glad it said what it needed to say, which is why I don't want to call it a complaint because I thoroughly enjoyed that show to a degree that I've considered going back and watching it two or three separate times.
I bought it.
However,
I bought the Steelbook.
oh, I haven't done that yet.
Steelbook
I
is
have
great.
finally reached a point in my life where I'm like, I pay for so many stinking streaming services that as long as I'm continuing to pay for the streaming services, as long as these things are still on the streaming services, I don't feel the need to purchase movies
That's
and
fair.
or things. And it's helped my wallet until I discovered trading card games. And now my wallet screams louder than ever because I've started playing the new Star Wars Unlimited. And I get a text the other day from the local card shop owner. No, it was from my sister-in-law who was at the local card shop. And she says, "Hey, uh, he's got this new Star Wars one." I said, "I'll be there in 5 minutes." And I was gone.
Yeah.
Uh,
Also, I just sent you a picture of
oh,
the
you
Steelbook
did.
case.
Oh, I wish I could show people on the internet, but I can't. Google
If
it.
you want to, if you're interested, Google it. Um,
It's so good looking. But so now I'm even more excited. But I'm hoping that we get a lot of like almost equal parts action as we do political thriller. There's so
and I
many
think
movies
we'll
out there
get that.
that lean heavily. They're action movies, but they lean so heavily into the political thrillers that they leave political thriller and go into straight up conspiracy.
Right,
And that's where there's a fine line between political thriller and conspiracy movie. And I do not enjoy conspiracy movies.
right.
They
Um,
because it means because it's like you have to keep track of things from the beginning all the way to the end. And I just sometimes it can be difficult
and I don't think that will
with
be
certain films. I'm
right. And I don't think,
We'll
to a
see.
degree, I don't think this movie will get as deep into it as Winter Soldier did, because we do know more. Back to the thing that happened in the end. Before we talk about the thing at the end, though, I want to know what's your thoughts on Harrison Ford's recast for Ross.
Uh,
Harrison Ford being
uh,
the new recast for Ross.
yes. Um, so I have two opinions.
Okay.
I have my film nerd opinion,
Okay.
and then I have my Harrison Ford nerd opinion. Which one would you like to hear first?
let's let's do the film one.
I think it's an interesting choice. I'm very, very excited to see him step into a brand new role in a brand new franchise to him. Because he's been in India. He is Indiana Jones, and he is Han Solo. So he's been in two of the largest franchises I feel like known to man,
And now he's
and
got
now
the
he's
third one.
stepping into a third one. So in my mindset, I'm very excited for him. The only thing he needs left is to be in a DC movie, and
And
he's
you know
got
he won't do
the
that.
whole. He won't do that. He's I think done with superhero movies. At
Well,
least I thought until he stepped into this role.
well, here's why I
And
think
I'm
he did it.
curious.
And even before we got the confirmation of Red Hulk, I think the thing was, and we all had we heard the rumbles that it may happen. They kind of hinted at something in Black Widow. Um, so we had the thought it could happen, and I'm like, it'd be kind of easy to get Harrison Ford to sign in to come and film on set one movie, and then maybe come back and do facial motion capture and voiceover for another.
Oh, that's actually a valid point. Make him,
The man's no longer that young. Um,
but even still, on top of that, even if he didn't decide to come back, you could start filling it in with voice actors that sound like him.
yeah,
As much as I hate to say that,
yeah.
but I can see that now. So you feel like we're gonna have Red Hulk at the end of the movie and not go back to he won't go back to Ross
Um,
because now we're speculating at that point. By you
I
saying
think
that, that's what my brain says is gonna happen, and it makes
I
sense.
have that feeling that once he transforms, I don't think he's going to go back and forth like Bruce Banner does. I think once he transforms, Ross will be the Red
Permanent,
Hulk.
which I'm so excited about. I'm so excited about this movie, and it's gonna have all of my like it's got okay. But now I gotta give you my Harrison Ford fan opinion.
Okay.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
And also, is it
Um,
not the fact that in the few little clips we saw, he's rocking the role?
he really is,
It's
and
almost and someone could disagree with me, and that'd be fine. But I almost see where it's almost a 1-to-1, like right where I don't know the name of the former actor is escaping me. I feel bad.
okay. Well, I know I don't agree with the 1-to-1. I won't agree to that. However, what I will say was he almost seems excited about this role. Like
Yes, yes,
it's something different for him. It's
yes, and
not like he's never done a I don't recall him ever having been in a superhero movie. Am I correct in saying that?
no, you're not wrong. And 1-to-1 was not exactly what I meant.
Well, his by the way, the guy's name is William Hurt.
William Hurt, yes, it's William Hurt. I didn't mean 1-to-1, but it seems like it's a smooth transition. Is what I meant to say.
I'll give you
Um,
that. I'll definitely give you that.
and this would be his first superhero movie, if I'm not mistaken. But it's not the first time he's played a president.
No, it is not. Which is even funnier. But it's even funnier that we're like getting a Thunderbolt Ross president like
I
that.
mean,
Oh, and I love the line because I think when he was even like um in negotiations to be in this movie, they tried to get him to grow the mustache, and he
I think I do.
refused to grow the mustache.
I do remember hearing that. Also, I'm kind of glad he didn't because I don't know how that would be.
But also, like, there's a line in the trailer that just completely, and I love that they did this, that they
Yeah,
explained the lack of the mustache
yeah.
because they were like,
I like
yeah,
Sam's. It's taking a minute to get used to the new look.
and then, well, not even that. The line right after it goes, yeah, the he made me shave it or something like that.
Yeah,
Says
the lose the mustache or
it,
lose the election.
yeah, and so I needed the election or something like that. And I'm just like, that's a good line to throw in there to just simply have. This is why Thunderbolt Ross doesn't have his iconic mustache. It's
Hmm.
gonna be weird having Thunderbolt Ross without his iconic mustache, and I think it'd be really really funny if when we get the Red Hulk, he gets the red mustache back.
There's a part of me though that thinking about Red Hulk, and I know in the comics he sports the mustache, but like I think in live action to keep it out of the uncanny valley a bit, they need to not do the mustache.
I would
Do you
like
see what
to
I'm saying?
see. Yeah, but part of me wonders if or part of me kind of wishes that we would get a like maybe he becomes Red Hulk halfway through the movie, disappears from public eye. Cap finds him. He's grown out the mustache and like the beard, like a mustache and beard. Cap says, "Come back into the light," essentially. But first, let's get you shaved up a bit. They trim his hair. They trim the beard while he's still Red Hulk. They leave the mustache for a second, and then just go, nah, and shave off the mustache and bring him out.
Hmm.
Something just a comedic blip. Now, granted, that's me saying that now. My mind might change in a week.
Right.
It's the way this goes.
And when the movie
But
comes out, we'll have a better idea of how to form an opinion on it.
exactly. But
And we
I
don't have long
do
to wait. I think it's
know
February.
it is
Yep.
February
February 14th.
2025.
Oh, happy
14th.
Valentine's
The
Day.
fact that we
Thank you,
already
Marvel.
have. Wait, I'm going to go see a giant red thing on Valentine's Day. A giant red. That's hilarious.
There's been so many times Marvel's giving me gifts on holidays.
This is fantastic.
I mean, if
This
it
is,
was, if I was it, I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier dropped on my birthday.
oh, that's even better.
Yeah.
I don't think anything's dropped on my birthday. My birthday's in May, so I get Star Wars.
I
That's just
mean,
me.
well,
But
yeah.
let me ask you this. I know that there's a couple other
Before we
movies
get
we
into
want to talk
that,
about.
I
Oh,
actually just saw something because I have I do have on the side of my computer here. I have San Diego Comic Con thing scrolling,
oh,
and we just got some stuff announced.
oh.
Uh, I don't know what your thoughts on the Batman are,
I
but it
didn't. I fell
looks
asleep during the first one.
okay. It is a lengthy movie with some slow burns. But it looks like they start filming next year for the Batman Part 2 and is looking to be released October 2nd, 2026.
Interesting.
And also they had a big thing about for the Penguin, which comes out in a few weeks, which is, and I think they officially confirmed that it takes place 1 week after the first movie and will lead directly into the second. But Robert Pattinson will not be in the show, so they say.
Yeah, they say a lot of things. A lot of people say a lot of things,
But yeah,
and
look here, we're doing
never.
real time news now.
Yeah, which is weird for us. We need to do a live show one day. 20
We
years later.
next we'll put it next year for the for next year's San Diego Comic-Con Marvel panel. We'll
Well, no, I wouldn't even say that because that's, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
one year
'Cause I
we'll
feel like next
go
year
to Hall H when we get press, when
and
we have a
10 years
million people
from
listening to us do this. And we'll
now.
live tweet from the building. No, we won't, because if we ever get to that level, we will be too much fanboying happening with us for us to
I was gonna say, there's no
properly do
way that
that.
either one of us would be able to talk, much
And
less
we're
do actual media at an event like this.
and within a couple weeks,
It's,
we're also we got the Marvel panels getting ready to start here in a few minutes. I will be focused on what you're saying, but I will be keeping an eye on this too. I won't break in anything. We may talk about some of these announcements next month,
I
or if we
would
want to.
like to.
Yeah, so we're not going to break in any of the news unless something massive drops. We may talk about it at the very end. Um,
Mm.
but just know I'm keeping an eye on that. But I will stay focused.
Well, I did want to bring up one thing because you're bringing up San Diego Comic Con. It's interesting because one of the other things I wanted to talk about, they made a major announcement at San Diego Comic Con that Marvel Rivals video game.
Yes.
Um, by the way, you need to get a PS5 so we can play.
Uh,
It's
okay.
no, I'm telling you because it's insane. I was actually very, very lucky enough that on like they're doing Twitch drops right now. By the time that anybody's listening to this, there might be a day or two left on their Twitch drops for codes, and they're doing like PC codes as well as Xbox as well as PlayStation. I was very, very lucky enough to get a PlayStation code, and I've gotten to play as the Punisher. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. It's along the lines of Overwatch with a lot of the very similar mechanics.
Okay.
But today, I haven't gotten to play it today. However, I'm told that Jeff the Land Shark and Thor have been added today.
I did see that.
And they were announced yesterday or the day before, I think, at Comic Con. And everybody just kind of went, "What? Jeff the Land Shark? What?" And everybody got so excited. I'm literally gonna go home, like when we're done. I'm gonna get online and I'm gonna play as Jeff the Land Shark before the night is over because I need to play as Jeff the Land Shark.
That's
But
funny.
it's so much fun. It's just kind of one of those ridiculously fun games. The only character that I wish was in the game that isn't in the game yet, though there's rumors, is Captain America.
Hmm. There's no
He's
way he doesn't escape
surprisingly
this.
not in it. He's technically in the game, but he's not.
Are
So
there?
he's not a playable character. He's not even a character you can talk to. He's in one of the maps. There's like a mural that's spray painted, and
Mm-hmm.
it's Captain America fighting a Doombot,
Hmm.
a Doctor Doom robot from 2099. Also, that's a
Oh,
big thing of this game. Is this game is like somewhere in between today and 2099, and
is
it's
it
a
like
very animated style. It's a very Overwatch looking game, but it is so much fun. I got to play as Rocket, and I climbed up on the guy that was playing Groot. I was on his shoulder, and I was fighting from his shoulder.
that's awesome?
And Rocket has this ability that he can throw down this thing and give Punisher unlimited ammo. They have these things called team up abilities, and it is just so much ridiculous fun to play. Like Groot can make a wall of wood appear out of nowhere. Um, Magneto has a great sword that he summons out of metal. Wanda's in the game. Spider Man, Penny Parker is in the game.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Like the
a lot
anime.
like anime. She's in a robot suit. called
Yeah,
Spider.
yeah, the
Like
one
she's
from
in, yeah,
Spider-Verse, right?
she's actually a huge part of the game. Like I think the story
Really?
kind of revolves around her and her universe. It's, I'm telling you, it's so much fun. And I haven't gotten to see what Thor's intro video is yet. Oh, Storm is in the game. Like it's not just like like Avenger ish characters. There's
Hmm.
mutants in the game too. Also, like this is just like the perfect but it's not supposed to come out fully until next year. The beta is right now, and I'm probably gonna play most days until the end of the beta, and then I'm gonna cry for about a week. It's just to me, it's one of those. I will say this: I'm trying to get a couple of my friends some codes. Also, why I'm trying to convince you to get a PlayStation 5 as soon as you can, because when it actually officially does come out, it's definitely a game that, in my opinion, it's a lot of fun, but it's more fun with friends that you can actually communicate with. I'm one of those people that I don't like to chat over game chat to random people. I would
Right,
rather chat with my friends because I know they're not a 10-year-old that's going to curse me out.
right.
So, yeah. But there was we've kind of talked about there's one other thing we got that Superman movie coming up. This is like the year of DC, right?
Hmm.
So much going on with DC. And I know I had, for the first time, gotten to tell you that from what I've heard, is that Christopher Reeves' son is going to have a cameo in this movie,
You
in
did.
this
You were
upcoming Superman.
you brought this up thinking I would know about it when you told me.
It seemed like a fact you would know, and I was
Yeah,
very surprised you didn't.
yeah, and I was kind of too.
I finally had a piece of information you didn't have. It was very surprising for that time being.
Yeah,
uh, so but that's gonna be awesome. I'm really looking forward to that movie. There's a lot of screenshots and things I've seen, though I know you're avoiding spoilers
as much as
for
I
that
can.
as much as you can, which is why I'm not gonna bring up anything else. But it definitely looks like a movie. I'm sorry, I think something just played on my phone for a second. Um, did you hear it?
I did. I did.
Oh gosh.
Oh man.
Um, what?
No, continue. Continue.
Um, but I'm very excited about that movie. I've seen some of the pictures coming off set, and some of the characters I did not know were going to be in it because I really haven't been following it super close. But I'm just really excited. But that kind of moves us into our next section. Do you want to describe that?
Yes. So at this point, we talked about movies spoiler free. In a moment, spoilers will begin. If you don't want to get spoiled, we recommend coming back later. We'll give you a moment. Hope you come back and see us a little bit later. And are we clear? We're gonna hope so. Because spoilers ahead. So
All
you
right.
wanted to start off with this movie first.
Yeah, this one I don't really know if this counts as like the spoilers. Um, for it because it this one came out in the '90s, but the other two we definitely needed that precursor or that warning for. Angels in the Outfield, my go-to childhood movie when I'd go visit my grandmother and my grandfather. Angels in the Outfield was always and was always one of my favorite movies, and now it's on Disney Plus. And I turned it on the other day just to have some background noise, and I think I forgot what I was doing while it was on because I just started watching the movie. And at some point, my other grandmother, because I was at my grandmother's house, and or so first grandmother I was talking about was my dad's mom and dad, and then I was at my other grandmother's house. I don't know if I've mentioned before, but I've been staying with her for a while. Right, I'm staying with her for a little while,
Mhm.
and then yeah. So it's I don't know. It was just kind of this movie that like it brought back all these warm feelings. And I think right after that, I went out and bought a box of French Toast Crunch and like sat in my pajamas eating 5 bowls of French Toast Crunch. And now that I'm
Mhm.
lactose intolerant, I couldn't use milk, so I was using almond milk, but it worked, and it was
Yeah.
vanilla flavored, so it like blended. Anyway, so that was the best day of my life for in the last while. After all of my health scares last year, uh, so yeah, that was awesome.
And the
And
reason I
then
let Lane kind of talk about this, I used to watch Angel of Outfield all the time, but it's been a minute since I've seen it. But I did know that you loved this movie because the day it dropped on Disney Plus, I think it might have been very early in that morning. You received a text from me, which would have been even
you,
earlier for you,
mhm.
of just
And
in
I
all
replied,
caps, Angels in the Outfield on Disney Plus.
and my response was, "I know." Like just that, like I think I had already like started watching it by the time I saw the text or something like that. It was so funny. It was, or that might have been the day that I watched it or something like that. And I realized after the fact, I was like, wait, that came off as rude. I didn't mean it that way. It was just sheer excitement, man. Um, but oh my gosh. And then it's so funny going back and seeing actors that I didn't realize were in this movie.
That's actually what I was going to bring up because I did watch this movie probably 3 or 4 years ago, and the first time since I was a kid. And I'm sitting here watching. I'm like, "Excuse me, Matthew McConaughey, what are you doing in
Yeah.
this movie?"
Oh, as a fully unknown actor, he's got like 10 lines in the whole movie
Yeah,
or something like that.
excuse me, Adrian Brody, Neil Madonna, what are you guys doing here?
And, like, I didn't even realize, even as like a kid, I didn't realize that was Joseph Gordon-Levitt either.
Yeah,
He's the
man.
kid, and I'm just like, that's what, what the actual heck.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, that's a movie that I just adored, and it worked out too because growing up in the, like a Christian household, any movie that has angels in the title, of course, we're going to be allowed to watch, or even welcome to watch. So, like for me, this was like a really cool thing, getting to almost see them, knowing that these are actors and actresses. But it was just kind of a fun thing that was just a great. I think it's still a great movie. Probably doesn't hold up to the test of time. But I even like watching it the other day, or yeah, the other day. I realized something that I did not realize when I was a kid. I just enjoyed it because it was Angels in the Outfield. It was Angels and it was baseball. Two of my very favorite things. It never dawned on me, why is this kid praying for the pennant?
yeah,
I didn't realize that till literally because I hadn't really watched this movie. Didn't remember that line. Didn't remember the reason why he was praying. But when the dad literally says, "We'll be a family again when the Angels win the pennant," I went, "Oh,
yeah.
oh, this movie got dark real quick. A lot darker than I thought it was. Fantastic." I don't even think I could finish it either because my grandmother called my name and I just turned it off and I was like, I need to not get emotional about a movie that I watched when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you ever as a kid? I know I did. Did you ever as a kid just randomly do the arm thing?
which arm thing?
The one that Joseph Gordon-Levitt does when he sees an angel in the outfield?
Yep. When I watched this movie, I would actively participate. When I was a kid and I would watch this movie and he would do it, I would flail my arms like that, but probably even more prominent than what he was doing. And in the like the last scene where everybody does it, oh, you bet your I was about to take off. I'm pretty sure somebody got like people would watch that movie with me because they knew they'd get a breeze. Like it was goodness gracious. Uh, golly. And there's so many movies that is just so good. And this was just a growing up. I saw this movie. It's just a fun movie that didn't have any meaning. Now I realize there's meaning,
Right.
so it's different now. But it was just a movie that kind of it showed like I've always loved baseball. Baseball and hockey have always kind of been my favorite sports. So I don't know. This movie just meant the absolute world to me. Still does to this day. And I love good filmmaking like this because this brings up another one that we wanted to talk about. I don't know. Do you want to go back and talk about Deadpool now or the other movie? And I'm asking
Uh,
this because I just finished the other movie.
let's talk about this movie first, and then we'll kind of wrap up with Deadpool.
Okay, the reason I even ask that is because can I say the name of the movie?
Go for it.
If
If
I
what?
just finished If like maybe an hour ago or whenever we um uh, about an hour and a half ago actually. Because goodness gracious, we've been talking for an hour. Um,
That's it.
if we're not recording, we tend to go for 3 or 4. So
Yeah.
this is a little bit of a surprise. But no, like I was so surprised by If, like just pleasantly surprised. And I just remember I was watching the movie. First off, amazing voice cast.
Yes. And for such small parts too.
Yeah, 1 or 2 lines, 3 lines at the most for some of them.
Like you hear one and you're like, wait a minute, I know that voice.
Well, that one that I texted you with, the spaceman,
Oh, you did.
I thought, and this was, I guess, wishful thinking as well, because that kind of made me, my brain made a joke, and it would have been really funny if it played through. Because I was like, I thought Spaceman initially was Tim Allen. And what made me laugh about that was I was like, oh, Tim Allen being the spaceman is funny because he's also Buzz Lightyear. And so my brain made that connection. But it was like a minute later, like something doesn't sound right about that. And I texted you, you said no. So I looked it up. I was like, oh no, it's just George Clooney. What?
But it also makes sense for George Clooney because he had um Gravity a handful of years ago.
Oh, I did forget. I forget about gravity all the time.
Uh,
Hey, means I float into space. Sorry, I'm making a lot of jokes tonight. Not bad. But yeah. But what was your so? This brings up a weird question I want to ask you.
okay.
Did you have an imaginary friend as a kid? Do you remember?
Not that I remember.
See, I'm wondering how many people stop and
Was it Ryan
it's
Reynolds?
almost some kid's imaginary friend is definitely Ryan Reynolds. Might have been
Well,
the kid that played him in that what was it? That Adam movie on
oh yeah,
Netflix.
yeah.
I bet his imaginary friend was just Ryan Reynolds. Um, but oh, and I love the twist at the end.
I actually something I was when you text me, you finished it. I was having to hold myself from asking you because I'm like I should wait until we record, and that is that Ryan Reynolds' character, Cal, was uh B's imaginary friend. Did you see that coming?
Yeah. Only about 2 minutes before the reveal.
I my brain clicked when she ran to him when her grandma said that they needed to go see her dad. That's when it clicked. She ran to him, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. And then things started clicking. I'm like, oh man, they sixth sense us.
I did. It started clicking for me. I think that might have been around where it started clicking, but I did. It was like like a back of the mind thought then. So I will admit it did not click for me until um I say 2 minutes before the real. I mean, like maybe like when she goes. I don't know because there was a point she said something. Maybe it was when the dad revealed it, or like when we see the dad and he says something. That might have been when it clicked for me. But then my brain went back. You know that they told us early in the movie?
They technically never hit it.
No, they technically never hit it. But there's a line that the bear says that straight up gives us this reveal. Because he says, oh gosh, I don't want to get this wrong. He was a clown. His
Yeah, he
only
used to be a
job
clown.
was to make you laugh.
Yep.
He
And
didn't
it
say
was even
kid.
earlier than that. He kept saying that, and now this could play either way, but it was even earlier than that. He says, "You've grown up so much since I last saw you." Like when they
Wait, the bear
first
did?
meet. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds tells B, Cal tells B that
No,
when
no,
they
no, no.
like,
The bear. The bear.
oh, the bear. I thought you. Oh, yeah,
I was
yeah,
saying
yeah,
the bear said that. Sorry, my bad. My confusion. So no. So Cal says that.
yeah. Earlier in the movie, Cal says like when they first meet, when B first meets Cal, Ryan Reynolds' character, he says something like, "Oh, you've grown up so much since I last seen you." Do you also notice that if you go back, nobody in the movie ever interacts with Ryan Reynolds except for B,
I
despite them
realized.
being in the room?
I realized that. There's even. Oh, wait a minute. Hold the phone. There's even a shot that should have been a dead giveaway when Blue is hugging B by the elevator.
Mm-hmm.
Cal is standing in the doorway, and then it cuts to a POV from the receptionist, and
And he's
Cal's
not
not
there.
there.
He's not there.
Oh, If is a great movie.
I will say, and it just kind of goes back to what we've said for the other two movies we talked about. It's a very the plot. It's a movie made for kids, but honestly, anybody loves it. Everybody I know that's seen it really likes the movie. But like the plot just kind of happens at certain moments in the movie. It doesn't really flow, but it doesn't have to.
It feels like a kid wrote this movie,
It did. We'll get a
which
scene of them doing something, some exposition of why, and then a scene of them doing something, and then we kind of move along. And if you really think about the logic of the movie too much, it kind of doesn't make sense. But you're not supposed to.
but see, I also disagree with that because the whole movie is a story from her. So there is no logic to a 12-year-old. At least
Exactly.
not to that
Then
same degree.
again, but then again, you don't realize that till the end.
But again, that's what
Unless you're
leans
my.
into.
No, go ahead.
I was like, but that's what leans into the whole like, oh my gosh, wait. There's another line at the beginning of the movie. Hold it. Because there's a line that Cal says. I'm so sorry, my brain just did this. Cal says, "We don't want to be on the other side of that door when that witch down the hall steps out. So you better go." He would call her that because to a 4, 5, 6 year old mind that's in the attic playing, she's the evil witch from down the hall. Oh, because when we see her first in the movie, she almost looks and sounds like an evil witch from like Wizard of Oz or something, right?
Yes, she almost a completely different look and sound than she when she comes up later.
Exactly.
Because I'm not gonna lie,
And
when
B
she first
goes,
came out as the witch and she comes out the hallway and she speaks, I thought it was Steve Carell
that
because it sounded like
would have
Steve
been,
Carell doing like an old lady voice.
because that would have been even funnier if that's the case. We'll have to wait and see if that comes out in any interviews. But oh my gosh, oh, fantastic movie. Uh, so if you haven't seen If, please go watch If. It's a great movie.
Even knowing the reveal at the end, it's I feel like still holds up. It's
I'm
kind of like
I'm
watching.
genuinely
Have you seen The Sixth Sense?
I have,
So it's essentially a imaginary friend version of The Sixth Sense.
which is so much better in my opinion.
Yeah, it's
Just because
like
I
instead of
still
him
have,
being a ghost, instead of Bruce Willis being a ghost the whole time, Ryan Reynolds was an imaginary friend the whole time.
and then when you look back and you look at his like apparel that he has during the movie,
Mm-hmm.
the whole clown thing just actually makes more sense
Mm-hmm.
because he starts progressively getting back because she's helping him. He starts off in that trench coat. The next time you see him, he has like a vest and a hat, and the hat is a little bit more like a top hat, but it's not. It's like a fedora or a
Mm-hmm.
trilby. And so, but his outfits are more colorful at that point. I hadn't thought about that. This is getting okay.
It's actually a movie I haven't had a
We
chance
could
to yet,
do.
but I have talked to now you about it, and my friend saw it today, and she texted me, and I asked her about the reveal, and she's like, I started getting curious at some point, especially when they go to what was the blues kid Jeremy
Yeah,
when they go to his work and B's talking to the receptionist, but she doesn't. He in technically Ryan Reynolds does too, but she's not doesn't respond. She's like that's when she started getting like,
I didn't even see. I didn't even catch that. At that point, I was
I
so
didn't either. I didn't either.
engulfed by the movie. I love
It's a
movies
movie I
that
want
are
to go back and watch again now, knowing to see if like again like The
just so
Sixth
you can
Sense. If I go back and
process.
watch it, everything makes sense.
Oh my gosh, I might rewatch that movie like tomorrow or something. Well, like after I'm done editing this. Goodness me. Okay. Um, we could literally do a whole episode just about that movie. I feel like that'd be weird, but we could.
It would be a
But I
shorter
want to.
episode, but every time we say that,
It's the longest episode we've ever done. Speaking of episodes, I don't know why that's a transition, but it's going to be. I wanna take another step back and do the first thing we talked about, or one of the first things we talked about.
yes, we're back.
We said we would revisit
We're back in
this deserves a couple minutes at least.
at
And
least. I feel like we
I
could
have
honestly break this movie from start to finish down if we really wanted to.
we don't really have the time,
Don't
unfortunately.
have the time, so we're gonna
Um,
break it down a little
if
bit.
and if anybody in the because we post this both on various streaming platforms for podcasts specifically, but we also post this on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube or listening to us on YouTube, if you have a different opinion than what we're about to say in the comments, let us know.
And
If
not
you're
just
listening
for
on a different
Deadpool.
thing,
If there's
yeah,
anything in this
anything,
video,
anything,
anything we
or
say
any
in any other
video,
videos, let us know.
please let us know. But I wanted to ask you, or I wanted to go back and I wanted to say, that opening scene of Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
The whole I'm I love it and hate it.
I feel like you would, because, and I had a thought when I left the theater Thursday, I knew you were going to see it probably about the same time I was getting out.
Yeah.
And I had the thought of, like, I know Lane loves Logan.
It is my favorite Marvel movie to date.
And the explanation that Deadpool gave at the beginning of, like, I know what you're all thinking. How are we going to do this without tainting the legacy of Logan?
We're
Well,
not. I was like,
we're not.
no. And just that whole sequence was so funny. But then the realization later, like that means that Deadpool and Logan are in the same universe.
Yeah.
That infuriates me to no end.
Well, it's always been hinted at, kind of more so hinted at, that the Deadpool movies take place in the, but honestly, the X-Men timeline universe stuff is so convoluted, and I can't believe they didn't make that joke.
You see, part of my like, I don't want to say anger, but like there is some plot holes in things. If these two movies are indeed in the same universe, there are, I think, some issues with that because Logan takes place very much in like a semi post apocalyptic society.
Logan, I think, if I'm not mistaken, takes place in whatever timeline it's in. It takes place in 2039.
Yeah. Now they do go to the casino, and it's like normal there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like everything up to that point has definitely felt post-apocalyptic. And then if Deadpool and Wolverine is in the same universe and they're in the same timeline, I don't know, like something about that, the difference between what looks to be 2039 Nevada
Mm-hmm.
to 2039 or Utah or whatever. I think it would probably be Nevada. Or unless I don't remember if they say it or not. But then to New York City. Is it New York City?
In Logan?
No, in Deadpool.
Yeah, it's New York, but technically Deadpool takes place after. Remember, he had the time thing.
Takes place after Logan?
Well, Deadpool takes place before Logan.
Then that's where things get weird to me.
Remember, he had the time thing he got
When
from
he
the
was digging
TVA.
up.
Remember, we had that
'Cause-
opening scene. We had the instant
yeah,
death
yeah.
scene.
Well, he has
Then it goes,
that's true. But
and
then
then he
why
goes,
wouldn't he go to an earlier point to get
because we wouldn't have that fight scene.
true? I don't know. But then, like, apparently, like, Wolverine is the anchor for that universe. So there's a few things that made me stop and go, something's odd about this. Like, the whole idea of anchor, what was it, anchor characters, anchor people.
Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting thing to follow going forward.
But here's my question: everybody dies eventually.
But also, we got the
This,
question of what happens before they're born.
exactly. So, at what point do I mean? Granted, it could be that like
And
maybe they like
and
there's an anchor person, and then when that person is ending the near like the end of their life, the anchor part is transferred to another being, and maybe Wolverine died before being able to transfer it.
maybe, but that, from the logic that was explained in this movie, it doesn't seem like that's what is going to happen.
Yeah,
And there's
I
a
don't
part
know.
of me watching it the second time today that makes me think maybe they're introducing anchor beings in a Deadpool movie for a reason. and maybe, and if you honestly think about it, when in the Fox X-Men universe, they were very hesitant to do anything without Hugh Jackman and Wolverine. So I'm wondering if it was
Yeah.
a meta take on
Oh,
we
okay.
lost this character that's been the cornerstone of all of our movies in this universe.
Well, did you see the picture that Ryan Reynolds posted today on
The
social?
one with the the one with the
Everybody.
cast at Comic-Con the movies that didn't happen.
Well, it was like a 2015 picture.
Oh, is it the one where
It has the cast of the Fantastic Four, but like the really bad one that nobody liked,
in Channing Tatum?
with Channing Tatum wearing that shirt that he's wearing.
Yeah, 'cause that's where they announced what they were going to do going forward, and then very little of that either was
Ever
good
happened?
or happened.
Yeah. And then Channing Tatum's project got canceled.
Yeah, we'll
But
talk about that. We'll
okay,
talk about that more in a moment.
yeah, I'm so excited about talking about that stuff.
That's actually
But
something I really want to talk to you about. But
sorry,
let's see, where do
I'm
we go
nerding
from
out
there?
thinking about it. I don't know, man. Let's go straight into that. The
Okay, let's go.
cameos.
Actually, let's do another one first.
Ah,
The Wolverine montage,
freaking hilarious.
comic accurate 5'11" Wolverine. I
Which one was
almost
that?
the short one.
Oh, I didn't realize that there was a comic accurate short one.
He was the first one he saw when he jumps off and he's like really
Yeah,
short.
yeah, no. I knew about that, but I didn't know that there was a comic one that was short.
Well, yeah, it's kind of a jab because back when Hugh Jackman got cast as Logan/Wolverine, people were
Mhm.
mad because Logan was like 6 foot tall, and they're like, no, Logan is supposed to be small. He's supposed to be short. He's too tall to play Logan. So it was kind of
Oh,
a jab at
that's
that.
even funnier. That's even
Uh,
better. I love it.
it was really cool to see Age of Apocalypse Logan with the stump
Yes, and the hair.
and the hair and the comic accurate suit there too.
That was fun. I loved all the suits, and then him
But
coming through the portal and staring down a Wolverine wearing the brown suit.
oh yeah,
Oh,
so didn't you fight a Hulk in that suit?
and then just peering in the claws and seeing a Hulk,
But
and I
the
was,
moment
oh,
that made me essentially curl into a fetal position because I was laughing so hard was Cavalrine, which is what he's officially
yep.
ca- uh,
We
credited
can talk
as,
about
is Cavalrine.
so,
But also, I'm never going to be able to think about Henry Cavill playing Wolverine again. I'm never going to not think of that
yeah.
because he looked amazing
I
as
disagree.
Wolverine. You disagree?
I actually disagree.
Okay.
Funny story. Everybody's, and this is a hot take, and I know it is, and it's very much one of these things that I'm like, I understand that people are gonna disagree with me, and I don't have a choice but to say this, but I definitely feel like that if he ever, if he actually ever does play Wolverine, they're gonna have to revisit the hair
Yes, but
and the mutton chop.
I need to say this first. I said that as in I'll never be able to not see Henry Cavill as Wolverine. I didn't say I wanted him to play Wolverine.
See, and
We're going to
that's
talk
where
about
people.
that.
We can talk about that in a future episode.
No, we're going to talk about that later because there's something
Oh,
later that I'm going to throw my hot take out about what this
ooh,
movie does. Something I said to you when we saw Logan, but something that this movie does that I hope they do forward. But we'll get to that in a moment.
okay. Uh,
That's a couple of things away.
okay.
But I
Well,
love the Wolverine montage a lot.
it was great.
Seeing him in the patch outfit, the James Bond esque
Oh, that was
Wolverine,
fantastic.
is amazing.
That
Uh,
confused my brother, but it was great
yeah.
because he
Uh,
thought it was the crossover one. Because there's a crossover Wolverine type character where it's Wolverine and Emma Frost together.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
Pat with blonde hair. He goes, I thought it was this. I was like, no, there's actually a comic book James Bond esque, like sitting in a casino playing cards with an eye patch Wolverine.
Yeah. And
And he was like, oh, okay.
I think they recently revisited that in the comics to do a limited comic run for Patch. Uh, but yeah, and seeing that scene is where I kind of noticed, and later on we'll see this movie is not only a love letter for comic book movies, like the movies we'll talk about later. It's just a love letter to comics because like not very often do you see the MCU kind of dive that deep into like that kind of comic lore. Where you could see like the Age of Apocalypse Logan and the Patch Logan and all that. I'm like, wow, they're actually like not only taking us on this ride here, but they're taking us on a ride for comic fans too.
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
There's so much of this movie that made me so happy. Like the whole, like that. And then,
The next big thing that happens after the Wolverine montage. And another reason where I was like, I really need to know Lane's thoughts on this.
uh-oh.
The and I can't believe that I didn't see this coming. Chris Evans returns.
Okay. So that, yes, okay. Um,
I
I
think
flipped
they
out.
did when he come out. First of all, and the second time I heard it, I heard the voice when he had the cloak on. The first time I didn't catch it, but when he took the hood off, I was actually surprised.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think they did a really good job at disguising what was under the cloak
They did.
because there was bits of red on the cloak that was wrapped around his arm. I think they did that intentionally to make you think that, oh yeah, this is Chris Evans, he's Steve, he's Cap.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I've
Well,
made the joke,
even Deadpool fell for it, technically.
he did, and even I, who made the joke in the past that like I think if Chris ever comes back to do something, I think he'll do Human Torch before he ever does Cap again. I made that joke, but that wasn't in my brain. They literally tricked me. So when he yelled "Flame on," I was literally taken aback.
I love that movies can still do that stuff.
Yeah,
It's just, I was, uh, and then Pyro just pulling all the flame off
that
and
yeah,
him falling. I thought he was dead when he hit the ground, by the way.
yeah, I did too. I was, I did
Oh
too.
my gosh. But this brings up, I want to ask your favorite character that you were not expecting in the movie that showed up.
So my favorite character.
Because I think this is going to lead into something else you wanted to talk about, or
Yeah,
something I wanted to talk about.
yeah. Oh, it leads into something I want to talk about too, because this is where it gets interesting. Because later on, we go down a bit and we meet the team of like rebels or like resistance or whatever. I don't know if they had a name they specifically called them, but that's essentially what they were. With Jennifer Garner reprising the role of Elektra, which I said a
Mm.
few episodes ago, Elektra is, in my opinion, the worst Marvel movie that's ever been made. But I thought
It
she did a really
wasn't.
good job in this.
It's like, but the thing was about it was I don't feel like it was her fault.
I don't think so either.
I feel like that she played the character really, really well.
I don't, and I do say I don't think she was the right person to play Elektra, but back then she was, because early 2000s was a whole different thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
but I love that they brought it back. Oh, did you catch the quip about
about the
um
Daredevil one?
about Daredevil with just her reaction? Oh, I'm
That's,
sorry.
it's all right. And that they
And
had got divorced
it dawned
recently.
on me after that. I was like, "That's so funny.
Yeah.
That is so funny." Um,
They've made a couple jokes like that in the movie that I thought were really good. The one that shocked me the most, because never thought it would happen, was Wesley Snipes coming back as Blade.
that shocked so many people. Didn't
Not
Ryan
that,
Reynolds and Wesley Snipes have a fight?
yeah, they hate each other.
That's what like I
From
think
Blade
threw
3,
everybody
they
off.
were together. They hate each other, and they made a line about that because when Blade started getting tired of Deadpool, he says, "I hate you," and he's like, "You always have."
Goodness gracious! I
And
wonder
then
if they
Deadpool also
still hate
said,
each other.
"Yeah, I think they might have been some bridges. You know, it's been 20-ish years since that happened, so there might have been some bridges together." But I was shocked to see him. Uh, Almost as shocked as I was to see Channing Tatum don the Gambit suit and talking the accent.
Ah, I cannot describe to you how excited I how excited I am
Yeah,
and how excited I was when that popped up. I have literally I don't even want to call it a complaint. I'll say it again. One small thing that kind of threw me off about it. And it was nothing except the costume around the neck bothered me
was it the way it
because he
looked?
couldn't turn his head.
Yeah,
It looked
yeah.
like
It
the
was
whole
very
thing
comic
looked
accurate though.
rubbery. It was very comic accurate. The whole thing looked like rubber.
Yeah.
Um, so the fact that the whole costume looked like rubber it kind of threw me off, but it also he might have been pulled from an animated universe. So
Well,
that's also a thing.
I think it was he's not pulled from any universe. I think he's just there because he never happened. Because he made that
He
joke
did
several
say I
times.
might have been born here.
I might have been born here, you know, or when people's like
Oh, he
all the people
doesn't
I
know.
fought, or he's like, or the people I could have fought. He always made the references that he never really got to do anything. And I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, it didn't dawn on me the first time. Dang.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is
Um.
great.
What
I love finally being able to see Gambit in live action.
was that your
I
favorite?
really, he's probably my favorite,
Okay, because
unless
my
you
favorite
remind
comes
me
in
of
after
something
that.
else.
But I knew she
X
was going to be in
23?
it because I saw the trailer. And at first, I was kind of mad that they showed her in the trailer until Kevin Feige at Comic Con explained why they did it, and then I'm like, okay, I'm a little less bummed about it. But despite me knowing she was gonna be in the movie, when she walked out that hallway, I still teared up. It's like you said with Logan. I love Logan. It's a very special movie for me. Uh, and back when Logan came out, I remember having a conversation with you that I was hoping that in the X-Men universe, if we go down a little bit more, we can see Laura don the Wolverine mantle and like lead a new X-Men like she does in the comics. Because I really like what she did. And I kind of brushed that aside when Disney bought Fox because I didn't think that would ever happen. And then we had
Yeah.
this. And I thought she was going to
Now
die.
she's now she's in the universe,
Now
which
she's
is
in the universe. They saved her. They showed
wait,
she's there.
hold up. Because she made a line because Deadpool made a line about sending people back where they came from. What if they returned um Elektra, they returned Blade, and they returned Gambit?
It's possible, but Gambit, does he have a universe?
That's the thing is, what if they created a universe for him, or brought him into the TVA fold, or gave him a universe where their Gambit died?
Possible. They did that in What If with Black Widow.
They did.
It's possible. I honestly don't think we'll see Channing Tatum play Gambit again.
I don't. I will say that by any other means, I really hope that maybe we can get him in on a movie, like an animated movie,
Yeah,
where he voices the character.
yeah,
Where he gets. Part of me wonders because he loves that character so much,
he really
and part
does.
of me wonders if like I doubt that he asked for this because this seems like a very Ryan Reynolds thing to do to offer him this.
Well, Channing
Uh,
Tatum often cameos in Ryan Reynolds movies a lot. Like he had a cameo in Free Guy.
that's true.
So I feel like if it
That's
was going to happen,
very
this was
cool.
the movie it was going to happen in for multiple reasons.
Oh yeah,
But
but
here's my thing, and this is what I was said. This is something I was going forward as like I could potentially see us getting one more movie, maybe with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and that being
I don't know.
maybe one of the Secret Wars or whatever they announce here in a bit. If they do announce something, a multiverse come together kind of thing, and we get
I
to
feel
see him
like
do it one more time. But me personally, and people can maybe disagree with me this, that's okay. Because back what I said a second ago. In the comic Secret Wars, they use that opportunity to pull people from certain universes to bring them to the main universe. They did it with Miles Morales and a couple others. I would not be mad if at Secret Wars we get some mutants plucked out of their universe, mutants brought onto Earth, whatever Prime or whatever it may be, and Lara X-23 is our Wolverine going forward instead of having
I would
to,
love that.
because it's honestly this, especially this close, recasting Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is not going to be easy for fans to go with.
No, no, it won't.
Having Lara take up the mantle, not only do you have to worry about not recasting Wolverine, I think she would do a great job. In this movie, I think she showed that she can do the stunt work that you have to do with
Hmm.
Wolverine. And granted, there would be, stunt people that
And
would
with
help
her
her.
just coming off the Acolyte too, like
Yeah.
that's the thing too. So we know she's good at act. She's
Yes.
a great actress. She's really good at playing these roles. Now,
And my
one of the
third.
things that you've said, I feel like
Oh,
you're right. I feel like that's a really good idea because at this point with that MCU, they can now they're already gonna they're not recasting Iron Man or Cap. They're going on
mhm.
with a new Cap. Ironheart was supposed to take over for Cap, but I don't know what's going on with that anymore. So I feel like, or not Cap, but Iron Man. So I feel like we're gonna get Young Avengers, and I think that might be a good time to introduce X-23.
Yes. And here's my third thing with that. And this is probably the thing that I think makes it where they can really do this. We also, not only will we get a new Wolverine, we have a Wolverine that emotionally feels like would be an earned replacement. Does that make sense?
Wait, so, yeah, I think so.
Where essentially, like, we have that journey with Lara already from Logan
Yeah,
and now from this movie. And if we get something with her in Secret Wars and we do get the plucker from the movie, and then if this doesn't happen, I'll be okay with it. This is just me as a fan. I would love to see this. That, like, I feel like we've had that journey with her and the journey she had with Logan and Hugh already. I feel like emotionally for fans, that would feel like an earned replacement.
you're
And I
right.
could be, and people may not agree with me. It sounds like you're kind of on the fence, or not on the fence, but like
No, no,
more
no,
on
no.
my
I agree.
side.
I will admit, when you asked me initially, I got a small distraction from my dog. So
No,
I apologize. I missed like one part of your sentence. My brain did not put the pieces together for a second. No, I agree. I feel like we definitely have that with her. I feel like she could do. I honestly, at this point, I want to see her in the yellow and blue.
I do too. And I've read comics from the more recent comics where Lara X-23 is the Wolverine, the all new, all different Wolverine, and like that
Mm-hmm.
suit looks great. And I think I would love to see that, and especially since he has the suit that she uses is the yellow and blue.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing her don that with and like do that in Secret Wars,
Oh,
they work together, both wearing yellow and blue suits, and then we pluck that into our main universe. Now again, saying this is not something that I know is happening. It may be something that
no,
doesn't
yeah.
happen. If they don't do it, I'm okay with
What,
that. I'm not one of those
even if
fans that's going to stop watching because they didn't do what I wanted it to do.
I feel like
As
even
I
though if
would
we don't get Hugh
love
Jackman
if they
again,
did. Do
I feel
what?
like even I feel like even if we don't get Hugh Jackman again, wearing the yellow and blue, fighting again, even as Wolverine, maybe he's taking a step back and letting X-23 step forward. He could now wear that yellow and blue in honor of her mentors
Yeah.
because now she has officially seen Wolverine in the yellow and blue. She can now wear that because he wore it as a reminder. He could wear it as a memoriam um, to her Wolverine.
Yeah.
So there is
I would
a
love to see this.
lot to unpack.
I would love to see this. Like I said, if they don't do it, I'm fine. I'm not gonna yell at anybody and not watch because they don't. If they do it, I'll be happy. I'll probably cry. I cried when she walked out with the team in the middle of the movie. I cried when she was at the table at the end of the movie. That's how much Logan means to me.
Well, on the note of our tears, this has been.
I
Oh man, I
I do know we're
look
wrapping
forward to
up.
this conversation. Huh?
I do know we're wrapping up. I do want to talk a little bit, just very smallly, quickly, about what's going on at Comic Con. So
Okay.
they're talking about 3 movies specifically. They talked about Brave New World, they talked about Thunderbolts, and they talked about Fantastic Four.
Okay.
Um, I didn't get to really see much about what they talked about Thunderbolts, but it seems like everybody just kind of talked about their characters, not much about what the story is. They talked a lot about Brave New World. They showed new information. I do want to talk about this. First of all, you know how Harrison Ford is notorious for hating to do like press and like Comic Cons and stuff?
Huh?
Harrison Ford came out on stage when they announced him, and he, quote unquote, hulked out. He did like the Hulk thing, like Mark Ruffalo did in that one movie.
Holy Toledo!
He looked like he was having fun, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how much did you pay this man?
Either that or oh my gosh, because so many things are going through my head. I'm sorry because he
Yeah,
hasn't been excited about a project in a while,
I mean, he hates
and then
doing press.
he hates doing press. So if he's coming out excited to do press,
I
that
think the
means that
last
something
time,
has happened
I think the
that has
last time
made
I
him
remember
excited about
seeing
this.
him doing any kind of like emotion doing press was when they showed the first trailer at D23 a couple years ago for Dial of Destiny, and he cried. That's the last time I remember him being any kind of like excited for doing press and stuff. Uh, but they did that happened, but they also dropped a huge bomb on that panel talking about that.
Oh,
Um, Kevin Feige. Oh, in the no, Kevin Feige didn't say it. It was in the footage they showed. It showed that General Ross, President Ross, I guess we'd say now, apparently had many nations at the White House talking about the celestial that's sticking out of the ocean has gave them the ability to create adamantium. They said the word.
I'm sorry for the awkward pause. Um, are
They're
are we
doing it.
gonna get a main continuity Wolverine?
I don't know if that specifically, but them debuting it in this movie does seem interesting.
Because now I'm
Ooh,
wondering if this is how they introduce mutants to the MCU. Maybe they don't plop them from other universes. Maybe they're homegrown,
could be.
and we're gonna start seeing more mutants.
They're gonna have to give me a really good explanation of how mutants have not been a thing the entirety of the thousands of years of history we have for this at this point of the
Well, I'm
MCU at this
wondering
point.
if we have had them, and they've just hidden themselves very well, or been government black sided,
Possible. It's possible.
and maybe like a few of them have their powers under control so they can hide under the radar.
Also, apparently, they just showed footage from Fantastic Four.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even know they were that far into shooting.
I thought they just.
I thought they did too.
Oh,
Apparently, they showed a shot of Galactus.
we need to go one day. Oh,
And apparently, it has a new little tag at the end. Apparently, this movie is called Fantastic Four First Steps. At least that's the picture I'm seeing right now. I don't know if that's the name of the movie or if that's like.
I hope they go to the moon. Just gonna say it.
I
I,
can't see. I'm not getting much information on what I'm seeing on that picture, but it looks like the thing behind Feige says Fantastic Four First Steps. So I don't know if that's like the name of the movie or if that's the name of like us getting started.
I'm so excited.
We'll talk about
Uh,
this more in detail. Oh no, somebody says the official title for the film is The Fantastic Four First Steps.
I just found that as well. I have an official, I think official image.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I'm starting to
yeah.
see things that.
No,
Yep.
this is official. This is Marvel Studios' official X page. Marvel Studios, The Fantastic Four First Steps. Holy Toledo.
Yeah. Well, I think at this point, before we talk all night about what's happening at Comic Con, I think we should wrap this up. We'll go more in detail next month if we get some major announcements. Now that we know about the 3 things that are currently filming, if bigger things come, we'll let you know. Also, between now and then, we have D23.
Dude, next month, our episode's going to be pop.
Their next episode may be
That
a news episode.
would be pretty cool. I would like that, actually.
I'll
Talk
wear
about
a
a couple of
suit
movies,
and use my
and then
news
we talk
anchor
about
voice.
news. Next up on, yes,
In today's news, in sports,
nothing, because we don't watch.
Wolverine shot a perfect goal with Logan's adamantium skull. He
That's
did
funny.
that. He did that.
That's fantastic.
Speaking of
Or
fantastic. Yeah, you beat me to it. You beat me by a second. But yeah, before we start rambling, I think we should
which
wrap
we
it up.
are very known for doing. Okay.
There's
On
definitely
that
more we can
note,
talk about with Deadpool and Wolverine, but I think we can save that for another episode.
we're starting
Uh,
to be delirious.
One
This
thing
is a
I do
problem.
want to kind of preface before we end up, we talked about leaving your opinions on the things we say. Let us know what you think about the way we structured this episode. If you're
Yes,
on YouTube,
please.
do you like the spoiler less than us talking about some stuff and then going into spoilers? Do you like that? Let us know. We'll definitely take input. Like we said before, if you know us, text us.
If
Not
you
text us. I
don't,
think it said Texas. Text
don't
us.
text us. 'Cause
Don't.
and if you don't know us, don't text us because that would be
Oh,
awkward.
that would be really awkward.
How did you get this number? Blocked. Anyway, on that note,
My phone buzzed right when you said that. Anyways, thanks for joining us,
have a
everyone.
I'm gonna say have a fantastic night,
Hey,
and I hope you have a marvelous month.
ho, ho.
This is uh yeah. All
This was fun.
right, y'all have a good one.
Bye, everybody.